afternoon, everyone. I'm John McDermott with the League of Podcast. And I'd like to welcome today a personal friend of mine. He's a weightlifting coach. He's had several championships that he's been a part of in his coaching career and personally. So I'd like to welcome Jonathan Mauk.
Hey, John, how are you?
How are you doing? Good. You?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing really well.
Well, thanks for being here today.
It's an honor and privilege to be here.
Good deal. So I'd sent you some questions before, and did you want to say anything before we get started, or?
No, it's an honor and privilege to be part of this. I know you do some extraordinary things, and just trying to give some of my thoughts and my times I've been through, some of the things I've been through, and just talk with you and let everybody know about it.
Awesome. All right. So the first question I had for you: what is the difference between mentoring, coaching, and how do they overlap or complement each other?
For me, mentoring is basically going through some of the things that I've been through, just talking to people, telling about my experiences, where coaching is more trying to motivate, trying to get them to get a team achievement, and then teaching is just giving them information, and just applying that to the task at hand.
Sure. Well, that's awesome.
So, so I think they all kind of go together, just for the fact that, you have to give, like, especially when you're coaching somebody, you got to tell them, hey, I did this back in the day. And, this is kind of a mentor part. Then you coach them. So, you kind of motivate them to get the thing. Then you got to teach them to get them to go where they want to go, so they can do what you need them to do. So they understand all the things that you're trying to get accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I know you're on helping Harrison with his weightlifting goals.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I've been through. I've done the Alabama workout, the LSU workout, the Florida State workout, and I learned about a new system. It's called the conjugate system, which contradicted everything that they were doing. So it's allowed me just to take that information, so kind of mentoring that when I was coaching, hey, try this, and it contradicts basically everything that you're basically learning through strength and conditioning here in America, and then trying to give them that information to go out and get strong. So the conjugate system is basically, they say mass times acceleration equals power forward. Most people in America, all they do is mass, and they don't do the speed part of it, which allows you, which is where you get the true power. Because in order to move something heavy, you got to be able to move it fast. If you move it slow, you're not going to be able to move it. So I think that's what's helped me strength and conditioning wise. I'm 41 years old, be 42 next month, and I'm benching in the 500 pounds, and I've never taken any, which contradicts, at my age, I shouldn't be able to do that. But I stick with this conjugate system, which allows me to, I've got pretty strong. Now, I wish my legs were a little stronger. I'm just fighting a lot of genetics, but upper body wise, I'm pretty strong, and I kill my hands, because that's where you play athletics. It's not the front half. Any part in your front half is not what you need. It's your back half of your body. And that's where you get your true power of force. You squat, but your hamstrings better be ready to grab it. Because when you go to sprint, your quads are your slowing down muscle, and your hamstrings are what kicks you up. So the faster your hamstrings are, and the stronger your hamstrings are, the faster you run. Which a lot of people in America don't understand that simple concept. Which is,
Sure.
So it's been enjoyable to, be around Harry and the other people that I've been around and I've learned from. So it's just good to give that information out and teach and coach and mentor people.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I had Harrison on, we talked about his challenges as a baby and how he's just been miraculously able to overcome those things. And I attribute that fully to God.
Yeah. That's one thing about Harrison is he's one of the hardest workers I've been around. I mean, he's very motivated, very driven, and he listens to everything you say like a sponge, and he wants to absorb that information. Just watching him now, how he's grown, he's doing that. He's doing his little podcast with talking about the Bible, and it just tells you where he's coming, where he's going, and that's what what's one thing I love about Harrison. I mean, I sent him a text message the other day, just just encouraging him because the world's going to come after him and say, "Hey, man, you shouldn't do this." But I just want to encourage him to understand that, hey, you're all on the right path and you are doing the right things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
good deal. And I was going to say, just give a little note to my friend Ben that I did a podcast with just a little over. It's like if he had been a mentor to me and brought me on the podcast, I probably wouldn't be where I am. Just the small start that I've done.
Yeah.
This podcasting endeavor.
It is. It's it's good to have you. Everybody needs a mentor. It doesn't matter what you do. You have to have somebody where you're trying to go. They say, if you hang around with a bunch of millionaires, you'll be the next. You hang around with a bunch of druggies, you're going to be the next druggie. So it's good to have those kind of people in your corner, and encourage you to push you in the right direction. I can't hear you.
Your call has been forwarded.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Got disconnected here.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
So we'll jump right back in here. And what are the key qualities or skills that a mentor, coach, or teacher should possess?
Everything's coaching is all about mentors, about relationships. You don't understand what some people in this world have been through and where they're going. So I think you got to build a relationship with somebody so they understand, that you're on their side, that you're in your corner, that you as a coach, mentor, teacher, you want the best for them. And I think a lot of people don't understand that part in coaching, which is hard because you have to build a relationship with somebody. They have to be able to trust you, and if you can trust them, we lost you again. Can you hear me? You there? Are you there?
I'm here. Just 1 second. Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do one more thing. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. We're having a technical glitch here there. So we were talking about the key qualities and skills or skills that a mentor, coach, or teacher should possess.
Yeah, it comes back down to relationships. I mean, you got to be a salesman every day, and you got to sell those people that you are the right person, you are the right thing, you have their best interest. Um, and we are all in the same, it's like, you look through all these, every coach has some kind of symbol they use. It's whether, it's I like carry the boats, row the boat, all in. It doesn't matter what your motto is. You just trying to get everybody on the same page as a coach, as a mentor. You're trying to get them to buy into something that they're not used to going to. So a lot of people don't understand that. In order to go do something you've never done, you got to do something you've never did before. So it's getting them to buy into that concept. You have to be all in on something, and you have to understand as a mentor, coach, teacher that you've been there, you understand that. I want to help you get to where you want to go to be successful. And I think that's as a coach, mentor, teacher, that's what your job is to tell them where you've been, how you've understood that. Don't make the same mistakes I made. So that's, the mentor, coach them through it and then teach them how to get where you've never been. Because, hey, we all want to go to this place. And that's, it's by building relationships. And I think that's how you get to that point, through that relationship dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I was just gonna share here. I'm with this. I know I post a lot about Order of Man on Facebook, and I recently joined their internal men's group called the Armed Council.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked and amazed, just the caliber of men that are showing up and being mentored when they don't have to be. It's not like they're paid. It's personal, like a personal recognition for themselves. Like it's their own reward just for being able to do that.
Yeah, and it's, they tried to scoff down the man today, but you got to be a man's man. Like when you got to teach young men how to be a man. Man's not soft. He's hard and he wants to push and encourage. And you do that, and you teach those people, you teach your players, you teach the people that you're around, to push through things. It's not easy. It's hard. You're going to have to go through some heartache and pain to get where you want to go. But that's how you become successful. It's not, everybody's successful. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to put some time and work and cuts and bruises, and it's going to hurt. And you're going to throw up, and you might, pull a hamstring just by working. And that's what you want to teach young men. And it's nothing's given to you. You have to go take what you want.
Right. I was just going to come back a little bit when you were talking about, the male mentality is of a weak mindset. And, Jordan Peterson talks about, you have to be a monster. And he's talking about the meek shall inherit the earth.
Mm-hmm.
But that word meek, I don't know if that's the right word or translation for that, but it's like you got to know how to use all of your tools and talents, but keep those things tucked away until you need them. Like having a sword and keeping it in your sleeve.
And I think Jordan Peterson also talks about, like as a man, you better know how to fight. When the time comes, you don't necessarily have to fight, but you better know how to fight. And that's where men are. Today they need to know how to fight. Not with their fists, with their hands, how to take care of things. But at the same time, hopefully you never have to use it. Because you don't know when there's a time where somebody comes in and you're sitting at your house and they rush in your family. You better know how to take care of yourself, because those are your prized possessions. Doesn't mean you have to, doesn't mean you want to, but when the time comes where your back's against the wall, you better know how to take care of yourself. Because I hope I never have to do that, but if I have to, I'm ready to do that. you know.
Definitely. Well, let's move on here. There's another question I had for you. How do you establish a strong mentorship, coaching, or teaching relationship with students? And what are the important factors to consider?
I think, relationships, you got to look where you want to go. Like there's people, I want to be successful. You got to find those people that they get in your corner, whoever that may be. If I want to, the good thing is being around, I have a father who's had a lot of success, and he's in the Hall of Fame in Ohio, and he's won multiple state championships, and he's something I desire to be like every day. And people, they don't like him because he puts his feet on the Bible every day, and he's a strong Christian man who loves Jesus, who wants the best for everybody. I have one of my buddies from high school. He went through some tough times, and he always, and he just texts I think today or yesterday, and he's like, I wish I listened to you when I was young, when we were trying, and when dad was trying to say, hey man, get your things right, and he went through some tough times, But I think as a mentor, as a coach, you want to lead people away from danger. It's like, the bridge is out a mile down the road. You got to stand there and wave your hands. Don't do that. Take the higher road, because you're gonna fall and you're gonna break, and it's gonna crash and burn, and you're gonna wish you listened to me. And that's our job as a coach, a mentor, as a teacher, to get kids, to see that big picture. I coached a guy named Travis Blank. He went on to play Clemson. He went on to play football at Clemson, played the national championship game, and he got it as a young age. My brother Matty, Ben, they both got it as a young age. They understood that you have to, there's some times when you're gonna have to push yourself and it's gonna hurt. I remember Travis, he'd bring kids across the city of Tallahassee, a guy from Rickard. Travis was going to Clemson. He'd bring a guy going to Alabama, bring a guy from Auburn, just to see how he could break it, because he wanted to be the best. And I've never seen a kid work so hard. Him and Matt Dobson and Dallas Griffith. I mean, just there's a whole group of those guys. But again, that's why we won the state championship 69-0. Just looking through kids I've coached, Kennard Campbell, he was number 4 in all-purpose yards across the country. As a quarterback, he threw for over 3,000 yards, rushed for over 2,000 yards, and he was one of those guys that wanted to be worked, and he pushed everybody around him to be hard. Because I was like, hey man, if we want to go here and win a state championship, you got to do these things. And he got it and bought in. And once he bought in, all the people around him bought in, and that's why we had success. And I've had success as a coach, as a head coach, and as a defensive coordinator. So I think you put yourself around good people and you listen to them, because they've been where you want to go, and you listen to their words of their wisdom and say, hey, don't do that, do this, try that. You listen to. I remember when I was at North Florida Christian. Greg Hudson, he coached the linebackers there. He would come and pick Garrett up, and he's like, hey man, you want to talk? Well, yeah, I want to talk, because he's coaching Florida State linebackers, and he was like, hey man, why don't you try this or do this? And I do those little tweaks, and we were good because I listened to those words and those things, and the understanding where he was going, that's where I wanted to go. So you just listen to those people, and you listen, and you take it and you absorb it like a sponge. And I think that's where every man needs a mentor, somebody to, I want to go here, and how do I get there? Well, you listen to them.
Absolutely. That's very good. All right, let's see. What are the benefits and challenges of mentoring, coaching, or teaching students?
Finding out where they are, because every kid has, every kid's been through something. I know, there's kids, that I've coached here in Springfield that, been through some tough times. Some people don't have parents. Some people, living with mom. Some people living with dad. Some people living with grandparents. And, you got to find out where they are. Some people, there's kids that, they go home and they don't have a place to eat. They might be in trouble. They might be getting physically beat up. You got to find where they are and love them and, encourage them, that you are a safe space. And I think that as a coach, as a mentor, is to get those guys to grow and to understand that you are on their team. And I think that's hard to go through because once you find out where they are, you can try to wheel them in to get them to where you want them to go. And I think that building that, again, everything comes back to building relationships. If you can build a relationship with your players and the people that are around you, it doesn't matter. If you're on a sales team, you want those people, you want them to, hey, man, how can I help you? And that's what a leader does. He's not like, he's not that guy, he's not that guy barking orders and telling you and screaming at you. Nobody wants to listen to that guy. But the guy comes and sits right beside you and encouraging you and loving you, and I'll do anything for that guy. And that's what I try to do is, not just bark at him and yell. And yeah, there's a time to bark and yell, but hey, we need to do this. But at the same time, you better come back and love up on him, and say, hey, man, this is what I need you to do. And I was a little frustrated because, we got to get to this point. I need you to get from point A to point B, and we need to get there together. So again, everything comes back to building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you build relationships, you can do a lot of great things.
Right. And I was just going to jump back to where you're talking about, people that are underprivileged or whatever, don't have a bed to sleep in or food to eat. I was watching a video with Shannon Sharp the other day, and he was talking about don't judge a man where he is because you don't know where he's come from.
That's true.
So it's like somebody could have been living under a bridge yesterday, and today they've made it go into a cardboard box, but they're improving. So that's what you got to take into consideration.
Yes, very much.
So, can you share a success story or personal experience of mentoring, coaching, or teaching that had a significant impact on their growth and development?
Well, when I was in Florida, I used to work at a prison, and as a kid, they've made some bad decisions in their life, and I still to this day, I worked there 10 years ago, and I still to this day have kids message me, Coach Mauk, hey man, how are you doing? Checking on me, because I was trying to be, because they made some bad decisions. They got themselves locked up. They were doing bad things, and I wanted to be that person they could come to at any time. I had a kid, who was overweight, out of shape, and he never played athletics. He wanted to play athletics. And he still messaged. He actually messaged me about 2 weeks ago, just wishing me Merry Christmas. Thank you for being that person for me, loving me, taking care of me, pushing me and challenging me to be great. And I think, and I can give you hundreds and hundreds of stories, same things, being that person where, hey, I always want to be that person. If you want to go lift, I'll be there. If you need to talk to somebody, call me. I always want to be that person. And there's multiple stories where, kids have struggled and, they need somebody to talk to. And it's a good thing is, I worked for, some people down in Florida that were great people, great men, great mentors that, allow me to have some success. And I thank, I thank people for that. I thank God for that every day. That I've been around people that, allow me to be myself, but allow me to do what I do at the same time, encourage me, try this and not try that. But again, there's multiple stories of people that have had success down. There's a kid, his name's Craig Slocum, who walked on at Troy. He's a preferred walk on and was a 3-year starter. He's a starter, at Troy. played free safety for him. Jack Klinkenbeard here in town, he's a walk on at where's Central Missouri, or was he at? He's I don't know where he went. I can't, I'm drawing a blank, but he was a preferred walk on there. He just got a full ride scholarship. Not that I had a lot to do with it, but it's hard work. Hard work pays off. And I was, it's nice to see kids be successful.
Right. There's joy in seeing that for sure.
Yeah.
Very good. So how do you tailor your approach as a mentor, coach, or teacher to meet the individual needs and learning styles of students?
Again, there's kids that there's kids that, have a good solid life where you can kind of get on a little hard in there. Like, I'm Evan Gentry, I coach down in North Florida Christian. You can yell at him and he's ready to run through a brick wall. Hey man, they called you soft. Gavin Steele, I remember pre-game one time I said, Gavin, if I was going to fight, I wouldn't bring you with me. And he automatically was ready to fight everybody just because you challenge him as a person. He's like, well, I'll show you how tough I am. And he went out when we were playing Lebanon, and he just single-handedly was just beating them up. And there's kids that, there's kids you scream out a little bit because they've been through some hard times. You can't do that to them. You better love on them and calm and push your arm around them. And, again, it's finding where they've been. Again, building relationship, finding where they've been and how you can get them to encourage them to be successful.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good to tailor a program for them that, need a little different kind of encouragement, not necessarily the amount of encouragement, but that's the way it plays out.
Yeah.
So really good. What strategies or techniques do you use to motivate and inspire students in their learning and personal growth journey?
Well, I think again everything comes back to building relationships. And it's how to figure. You're going to have to, have empathy, be a good listener, find out what they're doing, find out where they are. And you, as you teach them, use your expertise and your patience and your adaptability to learn where they are and get them to where you want them to go. I think you have to. Again, everything comes back to establishing relationships. To have them, and have them set goals. And I think the thing we did this year is what's your why. And as long as you come there and everybody gives their why. Well, I do it for my dad. I do it for my grandpa. I didn't have anything to do. I wanted to be successful. And I want to be whatever. And you can always, once you start hearing people's why, you can always bring it back to, well, I thought you wanted to be successful. I thought you wanted to do this. I remember you wanted to, honor Christ. You wanted whatever it is. I want to do it for my friend who played football, and whatever your why is, and always bring it back to them. So you can bring those back in there, and it puts it back on them. What's your why? What is your why? My why was I want to be just like my father. I watch him mentor men and coach people and be around great, and I wanted to be just like that because, I watched him have his success. I've watched him take people that, he won state championships with teams that weren't probably really great, but, he got everybody on the same picture and have them believe in, like, we could all run through this brick wall, and the other team would have the whole D line to be 6'4", 250 pounds, run like deer. They just win because they believe. And it's amazing once you start believing and you get in your brain, you're unstoppable, and a lot of it comes down to belief, and I think that, as a coach, as a mentor, you got to believe. And once you get that, great things happen.
Absolutely. I actually made a post in my men's group that I'm counsel this morning. I just said, good morning, brothers. Are you crushing it? And if not, why not?
Yeah.
What do you what are you truly working for if it's not for making yourself better
Yeah.
and getting your goals done?
Very true.
Good deal. Well, how do you assess the progress and development? Did I already ask that one?
No, you haven't.
Okay. How do you assess the progress and development of students in a mentoring, coaching, or teaching relationship?
Well, obviously, you know what you want to accomplish, and it comes down to if you're not getting what you want, you better find a way to teach it, coach it, and get them where you want. It's like, like for an instance, like, if you're a C gap player and you keep running the B gap, you're not teaching that right. You're not coaching that right. So you need to figure out, like, what can I do? You better, and everybody learns different. Some people you can tell them, you can be a verbal teacher and you tell them one time and they get it. Some people you better draw it up on a board and they have to physically see it. And there's some people, you gotta walk them through it, and as a coach, a mentor, as a teacher, you better hit every learning style that's out there. So you can have them walk through it. You better tell them, you better have visual aids. You better have them see it on film. Like, hey, this is what I need you to do. So you hit all those learning styles and eventually, they get it. I think that's where, there's a lot of coaches out there that have all the knowledge in the world, but the application process is not great. And I think that's where I've been successful is I understand what I want to do. And my job is to give that information and make sure my players do that. Or my, who I'm coaching. I want them to understand this is what I need you to do. This is how I want you to get it done. So you better hit all the learning styles possible to get that information out so they do that. And if they're not doing it, it comes back to it's your fault. My guy, if I'm not push pulling when I get reached, that's my fault. That, you better keep contained. If that's your job, or you're supposed to be the big gap and you're supposed to rip across his face and you keep running outside and you're scared of contact, well, I better find a guy who can do that. And I better coach that to get that job done. So, I think that, I think you better hit all the learning styles and get people to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, you better hit all the learning styles because, there's some people you can tell, and there's some people you can show them. There's some people you better give them film that you better hit all the learning styles to get what you want done.
Good stuff. Definitely. How can mentors, coaches, and teachers support students in setting and achieving their goals?
How can, well, again, it comes back down to building those relationships and helping them. Once you see what their goals are, and they're all in, if I want to go win a state championship, well, there's only one team that's going to win a state championship. So as a coach, every time we're lifting, you better be there. If you really want to win a state championship, every time the room is open, you better be there. If it's touch the line and you leave it 6 inches short, well, those or 1 inch short, those inches add up. And that's it's the difference between winning and losing is touching the line, not touching the line, showing up. And if you're supposed to start at 7, you show up 7:01, it's not important to you. And it's getting kids to understand that it's a little things in life that would get you over the hump. It's not the big things. Most people see the big picture. It's the little knicky-knack details to get successful. It's like, when you go to the NFL, the margin of error is so small, to high school. High school, you're wide open by 6 feet. And in college, you're open by 2 foot. In the NFL, if my shoulder's on your shoulder, I'm considered wide open. It's because the margin of sport specific sport, is the margin so small, you don't want to mess up, because you're going to get beat.
Yeah, so really consider that as being a factor.
Yeah,
having a smaller margin to.
Yeah, it's a small. You're going to have every little detail, and you better do it better than the guy who's got all the athleticism in the world He runs a 4.4. You better run a 4, and you're running a 4.5. You better run a 4.5 everywhere you go, and hope that guy jogs and takes time off because you've outworked him. That's how you become great.
Right. And I was thinking about, the thing where they say that hard work outworks hard work. Let me start over. Hard work outperforms talent every single time.
It's true. Yeah.
So
very true.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to pull out something you said too that I picked up on about showing up, and that's important in everything we do. It's in sports and our relationships, with the opposite sex, in our careers, in our walk with God. Like, how we show up is going to determine the largest part of the outcome.
Very much.
So I just wanted to add that to what you had shared with us. So what resources or tools do you recommend to enhance the mentoring, coaching, or teaching experience for the students?
I think everybody's got to find somebody they want to be like. If I'm playing a receiver, I'm going to find a guy who's better than me, who's in the NFL, and kind of follow him. What is he doing? How's he training? How is he doing? I just learned the other day, I was watching a video, and, if a receiver takes this, who is it, Vince or Anthony Carter, his web on his hand is so flexible because, I didn't know that. I didn't know, you learn little things every day, but, it's finding that person you want to be like and watching them, following them, and just trying to emulate them in everything they do. Hopefully they're a high character person too, because you don't want to follow somebody who's doing bad things. You want to find somebody who's a high character person doing the same job that you're doing with all out and everything they have, and follow that person. Be just like them, because they're doing what you want to do. Or do what they did. And hopefully you can build a relationship with that person and ask them questions. How did you get there? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And build that relationship, with, especially nowadays with the internet and, all these apps and all this stuff. You can reach out to somebody, you probably get a hold of whoever that person is, and, they might reach back out to you. And now you have a mentor for life and a person you build a relationship with,
Right.
I think the hardest thing for me is I wish I talked to people more. I wish I had built more relationship with people and coaches and talked more to put myself out there, to learn from them. Everybody has something that you want to learn. Well, ask the question, and people want to tell you about themselves. You just got to ask the question. You can't be so scared and be a turtle in a shell. You got to ask the question. And people tell you, hey man, I did this and I did that and I did, whatever. That's how I got successful.
Mm-hmm. Well, I met a guy a few days ago through the Order of Man Facebook group, and he asked me to be a mentor, and I said, sure, what do you need help with, man? Like, I'll give you all the information that I know. It's probably not going to get you very far, but I'm glad to share it.
Yeah.
And so he shared something with me this morning as we were talking on Facebook Messenger, and it was something about a David Goggins video. And that's part of where I got the name for this podcast from, the Uncommon Men. Being an uncommon man in a world of uncommon men. And David Goggins said something about being unbalanced. And I was like, I did not know that's part of his, part of the way he operates. It's kind of like being uncomfortable at first and just being uncomfortable and unbalanced. And then as you do something, repetitively, you're going to gain the ability to do it better every single time.
Yeah, and I had one of my buddies told me, like, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, because when I first started, going into sales, I didn't like talking to people. I had to learn to talk to people. Because it's hard to go build a relationship when you don't know somebody. You better find something in common real fast, learn to talk to people and communicate. And I think that's been good for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right, 100%. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
And I love David Dawkins. I mean, I'm all about carrying the boats.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know me, son.
Not at all.
So yeah. So outside of David Goggins, and we've kind of brushed on the topic of other athletes and coaches, and we haven't really talked too much about weightlifting guys like Tom Platts.
Tom Platts, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I've seen a lot of his videos, and I didn't know Harrison actually told me who he was. I'm like, his name is Tom something, and Harrison was like, oh, Tom Platts. I'm like, yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to push yourself to failure, to be able to improve, or something along those lines.
Yeah. I mean, weightlifting wise, I'm all about. I love Louis Simmons. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he changed my whole philosophy on weightlifting. And he's one of those guys. He taught me how to be powerful and strong. Not necessarily bodybuilding. Because bodybuilding, it looks good, but it's not functional. I'll be functional. I want to be able, if the house is on fire, be able to run, not look like can't move. It's functional training, and that's why I think Louis Simmons was one of my guys that really helped me with the West Side Barbell. He's amazing. But yeah, I like people that motivate. Like Kobe Bryant, another person who, he was so driven. Michael Jordan, there's people that I want to go here, and I don't care how I get there. If you're on, I'm going to drag you to wherever I have to go to get there.
Right.
Because he expected to be the best, and he pushed himself to be the best, and he pushed everybody around him to be great. And that's where I think as a coach, as a mentor, as a teacher, you've been there, you've done it. Don't make the same mistakes I'm doing. I did. I've watched other people make those mistakes. Don't do that. The bridge is out. Don't go that way. Buy in. And there's multiple people that, that have you tried to tell and you've seen that and they've failed miserably because, you try to encourage them, but, it's to get them to buy in. And that's as a coach, as a mentor, is to get them to understand, we want to go here. Don't do these things and do these things and when you do those things, you overdo it. Push yourself. And it's amazing where you go. It really is.
Totally.
I mean, it really is.
I mean, there's a concept. I don't know how many people talk about it, but just being 1% better every day,
mm-hmm.
And that adds up significantly over time.
Yes.
But you got to push, but you got to stay after it every day. You can't be like, oh, well, I gained 1% yesterday. Today I'm going to give myself a rest. Like, no, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You got to keep pushing with the same consistency. So.
Yes, sir.
So, did you have anything else that you wanted to add or give us insight into, or?
No, I think people need to realize that, your central nervous system can go really far if you push it. You adapt to yourself, I just wish people would, whatever you want to do in life, go do it. Put all your eggs in one basket, and if it doesn't work out, go create more eggs, and just whatever you're going to do, go do it. Jump in the boat and go do it. Don't put one foot on land and one foot on the boat. Jump on the boat. If the boat sinks, go find another boat and go row that boat. I think that's whereas, just push yourself, challenge yourself. And that comes down to me. It comes down to you. It doesn't matter who you are. Push yourself. Even if you're pushing even David Goggins was telling himself, I didn't push myself hard enough today, and he's physically exhausted. You can always push yourself a little harder.
Right.
Just push yourself, challenge yourself, and you'll be great. You'll do really great things in life.
Definitely.
Yep.
Well, Jonathan, I certainly appreciate you being with us today, and hopefully we can do something again in the future.
Yes, sir. I love that. I really love to do that.
I really appreciate everything that you've poured out into Harrison and his life, and I know he appreciates it as well.
Yep. I love Harry. Harry's a good kid. Good boy.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to what he unlocks in his life as far as, sports and weightlifting and career and college. And
he's going to do big things. Harry's going to do some amazing things because I just know watching him in a weight room, watching him squat 500 pounds, watching, he's going to do big things because he's driven, very, very driven. He wants to be the best of the best. You watch him, he's reaping, he's reaping what he sows for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Well, Jonathan, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year and take care of yourself.
Happy New Year to you as well.
All right. Yep. Yep.
Bye.
Bye.